Today on the show, we are very fortunate to have two wonderful, formidable intellectuals, women, Christina Horner and Nova Biro, who are the co-presidents of the World of Wellesley. And we're going to start by asking you ladies, how have your positions gone so far? I know you've taken over. This is your first year running the organization. How has it been for each of you through 2020?
I'll start if you don't mind, Nova. It's been very exciting. Very exciting. We work with a wonderful group of volunteers who are maybe not on the board, but committed to the work that we're doing. And then we have just an amazing board. And so it's been a lot of work, but exciting. And I'm really looking forward to the challenges that lay ahead.
Nova, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'll just add that it was a big transition for me, having been on the board for 5 years, but stepping into this leadership position. And I was so thrilled and excited to be able to be a co-leader with Chris, and that's just worked out fantastically. It's great to have a partner in leadership, and it's been challenging and exciting. And I'll second what Chris said about one of our things that we've been happiest about has been broadening the involvement in World of Wellesley and continuing to grow both our board and volunteers as well.
Lovely to hear. So I hear from chatter around town that World of Wellesley is an amazing organization because it takes on all the really tough conversations that no other organization, institution in town or in this greater Metro West Boston area is willing to do. And it's all volunteer. So did this year, did it go as expected for both of you? And if not, how so?
I think that with any organization, when you're a volunteer, you know that there's going to be a huge time commitment. However, none of us knew about COVID-19 and the added pressures that would bring. And so the time factor is there. But then COVID has brought around so many challenges that some of the events and activities that we have become very well known for, we had to reassess. In just about every case, we have not been able to do that. So we're trying to look at our current reality as opportunities to think about how can we reassess what we've been doing and use it as an opportunity to, pivot and maybe reach a broader audience.
And
building on that, I'll just say that we were coming into leadership at a really exciting time for the organization and for the community after an amazing groundswell of awakening and understanding about racism and the need for institutions to change and adopt anti-racist policies. After the death of George Floyd really raised awareness for people in the spring and summer. And so it's been exciting to be able to have this new energy in the community and to be able to work to channel that and to try to bring broader understanding and learning and change.
Wonderful. And I know the World of Wellesley runs a lot of communication, educational media that gets out there, information for people. So there's not a dearth of things that people can find to read about for what World of Wellesley does and how it's engaged in the community. And so I was wondering, give us a recap. I mean, it seems like World of Wellesley has been super busy through 2020. Give us a recap of all the things that the organization has achieved and done this year. Please.
It's a lot. Nova, you want to start with this and I'll chime in afterwards? There's a lot.
Oh gosh, okay, I'll start. If we're doing the entire year 2020, we kicked off the year with our annual MLK events. and had a great panel of speakers representing a few different perspectives on racism and how that affects people of different cultures. And Chris led that panel, actually. That was a fantastic panel and a great event. And we also had a family event that brought young people together for learning and activism around anti-racism. And I think the spring was a bit disrupted with COVID activities, so we had things that shifted online a bit more. We were excited to partner with a lot of student and other groups and initiate on our own a number of vigils and protests. And then we also were able to run a number of video learning activities via Zoom. We had a number of those that focused on ongoing learning about Indigenous peoples. And that led into some efforts. I'll hand it over to Chris to talk about some of the things we've done this fall.
Thank you, Nova. I've forgotten about MLK. We're actually busy trying to plan for MLK 2021. So in terms of this fall, we decided to really deepen our understanding and engage in a community-wide effort to learn together. So while we've really been committed to really assessing Columbus Day in town and really striving to make a change, to change it to Indigenous Peoples Day, we realized that there was a lot of community learning that we needed, not just in terms of the community, but also as the board. So we had the 30-day plus racial equity challenge focused on Indigenous peoples. And the reason why it was called plus, to make sure that people realize it wasn't just a one-time event and a one and done. And so we, that little plus was very, very symbolic for us that the work is going to be ongoing. And so that was really exciting. And we were really pleased to see how many community members signed up. We had over 150 who signed up for the daily pledge, where they had many different options. And then we also had community partners who expressed an interest, and then also other communities started reaching out. As a result of that event, we are really focused on the educational piece so that people realize that the events, the activities are really important, but all of that needs to be grounded in education. And so right now we're partnering with the library for different activities. And so they're going to be continuing with the Indigenous education. And so it's just really been an exciting time.
Excellent. And just to be clear, there is also a separate from World of Wellesley and Indigenous Peoples Day committee that handles all things Indigenous people. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's since there's a ballot question coming up in March 2nd for the town to weigh in on honoring Indigenous Peoples Day, there is a separate committee for Indigenous Peoples Day Wellesley that is focused on education and activism around that ballot question.
Perfect. Thank you. And what do you think is the future for World of Wellesley in 2021? What are the plans? What do you think it's going to look like?
Well, we're taking on one big project where we are really reassessing both our mission and our vision. And when World of Wellesley first started, there was truly a commitment to celebrating diversity. Mm-hmm. However, the organization, the members of the organization have truly evolved. And so it's moved more towards anti-racism. And we've decided it's no longer enough to celebrate diversity. And yes, multiculturalism is important, but anti-racism is different. It's very different. It's an act, it's ongoing action. And so if you look at our activities, if you look at the education behind the activities, they're all consistent with anti-racism as opposed to multiculturalism. And so, it's been great. We're doing it together. We're learning together. And we're just hoping that more people move with us. And I think the unfortunate death of George Floyd helped many people to realize that multiculturalism is not enough. And we all need to be in this anti-racist journey together.
And World of Wellesley plans to continue the Black Lives Matter support in its multiple various forms through 2020.
Absolutely, yeah. And I just want to take this moment to highlight some of the great progress that has been made in the town of Wellesley in the past year along these lines. So the Wellesley School Committee passed an anti-racism resolution this summer. In addition, the select board applied for a racial equity grant to do work across the town in this area. Unfortunately, they did not receive the grant, but I know that they have committed to finding other ways to engage in that work, similar to what they submitted in the grant. And in addition, the Wellesley Public Schools Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion has really been picking up steam and launched a new and much expanded website, and also issued some really important and great responses to student activists from the Young Ethnic Scholars Group who have been making demands for over 2 years, and it was great to see the public schools get to a point of issuing formal responses to those demands, and the students felt really gratified in their efforts.
Excellent. That's great news. Please, if there's anything else you'd like to add or share, I think World of Wellesley is available to the public to view on Facebook, Instagram, and on the website, which is worldofwellesley.org. Right? If there's anything else you'd like to add, please do so.
I do want to touch upon something. I know from what I've seen in the papers, there have been thefts in the community regarding the signs for the people, Italians are people too. And, I do know that World of Wellesley has been accused of having a direct impact or involvement in that. And I just want to make it clear that we have had signs stolen too. We do not condone it. We have not encouraged it. And we actually denounce the stealing of any signs for people who want to express their views. But our hope as individuals, our hope as an organization is that as we approach the ballot question on March 2nd, that we will be a community that models what we expect from our youth, that models what we expect from each other, and just engage in a conversation. And you can't engage in a conversation if you are disparaging other organizations and other individuals. And so it's just not the way to do things. But, I just want to publicly say that we have had nothing to do with that. We don't encourage it. And for anyone, regardless of your position, we just ask that you stop.
Thank you for sharing. That's a very important message and very well said. Thank you, Christina. So Christina and Nova, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. And I'm sure World of Wellesley is going to do fantastic things in 2021.
Thank you, Rama.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.